All right, it's that time again for the weekly update. We're going to start with Bitcoin. We have some things rolling along now. Since our last update, we surpassed our low end target of 55,162, shot through it and our other supports that we had down here to almost touch that 786 retracement from our prior low here to our prior high. We're getting a bit of a rebound now over the weekend. Forgive me, I've got a little bit of a cold, so if I'm a little sniffly or if I cough, it's just a bit of a reaction there. But what we're looking at on the chart now is to see if support has flipped into resistance. And the major one I'm looking at now is this value area low of our range from prior low to now. And that's coming in approximately 55,683. Could be a little earlier than that, coming down at 55,305 to this anchored VWAP from this high candle. Let me come in on a 4-hour chart and we'll take a little better of a look at it. From this higher anchored VWAP coming down to 56,159. For bullish action, what we want to see at this point, if I can find my arrows, there they are. What we want to see at this point is for this to come up and break into this range, hold it for support, then continue on. If we can break into this value area range, we can look for targets up higher, hopefully getting into this major range value area low. If we can't break into there, then it looks like we're heading more down, maybe coming down to get that liquidity. But if we can't even break into this, then none of that really matters, and we could just continue down even further, break that liquidity, and head into our more major 786. And we have a prior value area high here. So 46,000 to me, it looks like a good solid support range. You see this trend line we have from the lows all the way up till now. We could come down and test that. To me, this would be a major buying opportunity, and I wouldn't flip bearish long term till we broke this blue box here between 42 to 38. Yeah, about 40,000. If we can hold 40,000 right here, that value area low, if we can hold 40,000, then I'd say we're doing okay. But it is starting to get a little bit iffy there. We start breaking under that, then we're coming back into this range here with a huge volume support in this range, the 20s, 30s. Ideally, what I'd like to see happen if we do reject here, everyone flips bearish, we come down, we start break this liquidity, and we start testing this volume area, and then we can lift out from there up into our higher targets, and it gives us some really good price points to buy in at. To me, this would be a major buy zone. If we go into the daily, it's the daily or the weekly, I can't remember now. Take a look at that. 50. No, it's the weekly. So we are sitting on top of long-term support, our weekly 50 EMA. So want to see that hold. Yeah. As long as we don't break under this prior low, 52, and sink down towards that 886, I want to see this area here hold for support and climb in and above this value area low. If we can do that, we can start looking for higher targets again. If we can't, we start lose this 50. We could drag these drag our 13 EMA down into it as well. Our 200s all the way down here. I don't want to see it hit that. That would be a major move. Last time we hit that, got a small reaction, came under it. So I want to see that hold as support as it did here. as the 50 did here as well. Hopefully, maybe consolidate on it a little bit, then take off. Don't want to break this trend line either. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin for the longer term. But again, on the shorter term, something that's actionable right now. Let's see. Let's take this off. And we'll pull up a small time fib. So we want to hold over this weekend this area here, right? So if we dip back down into the zone, again, let me get my arrows here. If we dip back down into this zone, I want to see it hold here, especially 53, 415. I think that'd be important where these candle closures are on the 4 hour. Then we can ideally take a long, small one up into this value area low range that we're eyeballing in. From there, we can see what price action looks like. And we can make up that decision to either short back down into those lows, or if it looks like we're reclaiming this area, we could add in another long. Yeah, we can break up and above, ideally 57.90. And say we come down, test, and then lift out. That would be our bull case scenario. So if we came up that high, then we could just start building our way back up. Um, yeah, so no longs here, just ideally looking for shorts. No shorts here, ideally looking for longs, right? So I want to travel in this range. Now, if we come up here and we reject this, that's why I'm looking at shorts. So we'd have a 1, 2, 3, a 3-wave corrective move. You guys know what happens with a corrective 3-way move. They turn bearish and we come down, target that liquidity at 49,000. I definitely have a take profit here at this 886, even though I prefer to target 886s, but there is structural reason for that. Um, I do want to make a video, hopefully when my voice comes back. I do want to make a video for trading structured M and W formations, basic harmonic formations, and to why the 886s are important, but that'll have to wait for another time. Let's continue on to, we'll start with the SPY. Now the SPY came up and double topped and rolled. We didn't even break the prior high. Let's pull that line across, right? So we're on an area of support right now. And I think that this next week, right? I think that this next week is going to be an important talking point for the idea of the rate cuts. I think that with the market sinking, they're going to start pushing that narrative. The rate cuts are coming; they're going to be big. Maybe half a percentage point instead of a quarter, as previously planned or spoken about anyway. And yeah, I'd like to see that narrative pushed, kind of give us a bit of a lift here off of these supports that we've got, come back up again, um, so we can make another stab at a low. Now, yeah, we've come down far enough. So if we come back up, maybe fail another high, like Bitcoin has done. Maybe they take another run at the lows, or we get a 1618. That would be interesting, actually, right here, because that would get us into that first target for this pattern. So that's where we'd have confluent patterns. That could be an interesting run. So I do want to see a little rally into that rate announcement. Hit that time fib, the that 1.5 time fib. I think that could be an interesting run. What time is that? Is that on the it's the 24th? It's Tuesday. No. It's the 17th. Yeah. That's the day before the rate cut. So I think we rally into the 1.5 fib, and then I think that we fall after that. Either if we fall after that, it'd be either due to a lackluster rate cut, or the rate cut um, kind of getting that out of the way. So it's no longer the news play or the play of the day that everybody wants. We take this thing off of logarithmic, says line up. So yeah, I can see that being interesting. I think we bounce up here, get into this range here about 556, and then fall down after the rate cut into October. That's where we hit that bearish time, and then hit that 1618, get our rebound back, maybe to the tops, maybe another failed high, and then come back up for another swoop down into the lows, and that could finish our major correction. That give us our 25% decline, and maybe that's all we get, and we continue back up. Uh, that to me, ideal. I don't like to see the markets continue to suffer beyond that. I don't want to see it break too far under this line, but if it does, SP gets into that 2600 range, that'd be a great buying opportunity right here. This be one of those once or twice a lifetime opportunities, that 50% decline. But they don't happen very often, and when they do, they tend to be very, very good buying opportunities. 70% decline, I haven't seen one in my lifetime. And I'm no spring chicken, so it'd be terrifying, yes. But it'd be another one of those, well, hope you got some dry powder, buy what you can, because either the U.S. is done for, and I got to find somewhere else to live, or good buying time. So back to the SPY, we'll take a look at the Qs, because the Qs, again, like the SPY, I want to see the Qs be done. I want to see this be the end range here, because I think that on this support, we could lift back, and I'd like to see the Qs get a really good rebound. That 127 mark now doesn't look quite line up with what I was planning for the SPY, right? Because for the SPY, it's a much shorter time boost and fall. For the Qs, and it may not make it. The Qs could be forming something again more bearish, just like the SPY, and this all could be much shorter time, where we come up to say like a 618, and then down into a 786, or again further we could hit a 127. Yeah, maybe pull a butterfly out here on a target one. That could be our confluence with the SPY for the Qs, right? A very similar pattern into those target ranges. Yeah, the ES is just the tradable area on the SPY. You see, we came into that target one, here we were tracking. We're a little higher on our bat patterns. So let me pull up a fib retracement. And I should have been watching this better, but if we pull that up, let me switch. Right, so we came into the hop, which is this 114, and we just hit it. So, coiling up into the hop of that pattern and then down at a target one, that makes it very valid. And I should have run from the hop down. But man, we came up and teased that and tested it over and over. Uh, that's not usually typical, so I didn't trade it. It's my bad on that one. Dow Jones did not on its own reach the 1.16, the 1.618 extension that we were looking for. But the futures did. They came up and they poked it and fell. So that's also interesting because the futures have now completed their larger pattern to mirror the S&P and the Qs, the Nasdaq. So we have this same pattern on all three major indices at this point. Um, and we are reacting quite well to them, honestly. So I do think that our lower targets are very valid in this case. Take that off. Actually, we'll leave that on, but I am going to take off, clean it up a little bit, take these out because they don't need to be there. And let's pull a target fib. They're here. And we'll put our targets on there. So this is our target range for a pattern on the Dow Jones. We're looking for a pullback to 3801, which tests this high, right? So we come down, test that prior high, or come down and test, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a volume range, right? Kind of test that volume point of control. Down here at the 618, 33,646. So again, pattern wise, all the indices are looking quite bearish. They don't look complete just yet. And if we go to TMF, we can see we've pulled back up. That we are basing, it does look like it's basing here on TMF. These are the true US Treasuries. If you're feeling super cautious and are looking for a place to put some unexciting money, either U.S. Treasuries, TLT, if you're extra cautious, or if you're a little more ambitious, the TMF, which is a uh, leverage weighted fund for the U.S. Treasuries. So it's 3x bullish uh, leveraged TLT. We do have a target range for this pattern. It is quite a bit above. I don't know if it'll get up there or not. We have a lot of price action in here between 199 and 161 that we'd have to get through first. I'd be fine with that. It'd still be a pretty good move. So any cautious money could set pretty well in here. And that's going to wrap up the weekly update. Hopefully it gives you some perspectives, maybe a battle plan for the days ahead. And next week when we check back in, it'd be almost that time. We get really close to rate cuts, and we'll see if we get that rise. All right, I'll end it for now. Bye.